Have you ever seen people with beardy and pimply faces? Have you ever seen people with taller heights than yours, slim hips, and deep voices? Well, if you have, you know how the topic starts. My fellow physical educators, I am super excited to have you here. Excited about the topic we'll get to have today. And that's exactly what this is all about. Sharing my thoughts about my topic to discuss for this moment. That's why I need you to stay present, stay calm, and stay alert. This is not a test. This is not an exam. This is new learning. Welcome to our new world in this pandemic. I am Rafael Llagas discussing to you about physical development in adolescence. But first things first, let us know what are the learning objectives in this topic. We will be defining what is adolescence and describing the development of puberty and then the brain development during adolescence. Also, we are going to discuss the effects of early and late maturation of adolescence, the body image in adolescence, the sleep needs of adolescence, the nutritional needs of adolescence, and also the eating disorders. So now let's define what is adolescence. Adolescence is often characterized as a period of transformation, primarily in terms of physical, cognitive, and social relational change. Adolescence is a developmental change, or it is called as a stage for a development. This has been defined as starting with puberty and ending with the transition to adulthood, approximately ages 10 to 20. Adolescence has evolved historically, with evidence indicating that this stage is lengthening as individuals start puberty earlier and transition to adulthood later than in the past. Puberty today begins, on average, at age 10 to 11 years for girls and 11 to 12 years for boys. This average age is onset has decreased gradually over time since the 19th century by 3 to 4 months per decade, which has been attributed to a range of factors including better nutrition, obesity, increased father absence, and other environmental factors. It is according to Steinberg 2013. Completion of formal education, financial independence from parents, marriage, and parenthood have all been markers of the end of adolescence and beginning of adulthood. And all of these transitions happen on average later now than in the past. In fact, the prolonging of adolescence has prompted the introduction of a new developmental period called emerging adulthood. So this captures the developmental changes out of adolescence and into adulthood, occurring from approximately ages 18 to 29 years old, according to Arnett 2000. So the famous quote, according to Alden Nolan, the day the child realizes that all adults are imperfect, he becomes an adolescent. The day he forgives them, he becomes an adult. The day he forgives himself, he becomes wife. So with this matter, according to Nolan, young children often view adults with awe. Even disobedient ones fear the deity like the powers of adults. Yet, over time, the cracks in the facade of authority grow. Some author has stated the day the child realizes that all adults are imperfect, he becomes an adolescent. In 1971, the prominent Canadian poet Nolan published the collection entitled Between Tears and Laughter, containing the work of scratchings. So in this quote, it illustrates about the parent scolding a child from an open clip art vectors at Pigsabai. So move on. Let's proceed in um, the point where we are going to describe the development of puberty. So, adolescence begins with puberty. While the sequence of physical changes in puberty is predictable, the onset and pace of puberty vary widely. Several physical changes occur during puberty, such as adrenorrhea and gonadarchy, the maturing of the adrenal glands and sex glands, respectively. Also, during this time, the primary and secondary sexual characteristics develop and mature. Primary sex Primary sexual characteristics are organs specifically needed for reproduction, like the uterus and ovaries in females and testes in males. Secondary sexual characteristics are physical signs of sexual maturation that do not directly involve sex organs, such as development of breasts and hips in girls, and development of facial hair and a deepened voice in boys. Girls experience menarche, the beginning of menstrual periods, usually around 12 to 13 years old, and boys experience spermarche, the first ejaculation, around 13 to 14 years old. During puberty, both sexes experience a rapid increase in height, which is the growth spurt. For girls, this begins between 8 and 13 years old, with adult height reached between 10 and 16 years old. Boys begin their growth spurt slightly later, usually between 10 and 16 years old, and reach their adult height between 13 and 17 years old. Both nature and nurture can influence height. Because rates of physical development vary so widely among teenagers, puberty can be a source of pride or embarrassment. Early maturing boys tend to be stronger, taller, and more athletic than their later maturing peers. They are usually more popular, confident, and independent, but they are also at a greater risk for substance abuse and early sexual activity. Early maturing girls may be teased or um, overtly admired, which can cause them to feel self conscious about their developing bodies. These girls are at a higher risk for depression, substance abuse, and eating disorders. Late blooming boys and girls, particularly a problem for late maturing boys. No, I mean, late blooming boys and girls may feel self conscious about their lack of physical development. So, negative feelings are particularly a problem for late maturing boys who are at a higher risk for depression and conflict with parents and are more likely to be bullied. Let's proceed to the brain as the basic facts. So, the frontal cortex are the area of the brain that are responsible for rational thinking. It is still developing during adolescence. Adolescents differ from adults in the way they behave, solve problems, and make decisions. Recent research shows that there is a biological explanation for this difference. The brain continues to develop during adolescence and even into early adulthood. Moving on, the brain development in the amygdala and the frontal cortex. So at here, the amygdala and the frontal cortex are the two key regions of the brain that develop at different times. The amygdala, which processes stress and other emotions, are responsible for instinctual reactions like fear and aggressive behavior that matures early. On the other hand, the frontal cortex, or the area of the brain that are responsible for judgment, self-control, emotional regulation, rational thought, goal setting, morality, and understanding consequences, is not yet fully developed in teenagers. In fact, this area of the brain develops quite dramatically during adolescence and into the mid 20s. So, what does this mean for adolescents? Pictures of the brain in action shows that adolescents' brain function differently from those of adults when making decisions and solving problems. Adolescents' actions are guided more by the amygdala and less by the frontal cortex. That means that teens' responses to situations are rooted in emotion rather than rationality. In other words, the last part of the brain to fully develop is one of the most important. It's the area that gives people the ability to make rational decisions. Because the part of the brain that helps us think before we act isn't fully developed until adulthood. In stressful situations or when faced with difficult decisions, teens are more likely to think one thing and feel another. They act from impulses that differ from thoughts or feelings. They also misread or misinterpret social cues and emotions. Also, they engage in risky or inappropriate behavior. So, how can adults help? There are several ways adults can help teens make healthy choices. Adolescents' brains go through a use it or lose it pruning system. Brain cells and neural connections that get used when the least get pruned away and die off, whereas those that get used the most become stronger. To help teens make healthy choices, walk them through the decision making process before they encounter risky situations. This will help them to make life impacting decisions with less stress. Teens who undergo learning and positive experiences help build complex and adaptive brains. So let's proceed to these strategies to support healthy adolescent brain development as a part of physical development during adolescence. So here we are encouraging teens to have healthy lifestyle and offer opportunities for positive experiences. Second will be we're going to provide meaningful opportunities for teens to exercise logic and apply analytical and decision making skills to build up those brain functions. Third one, encourage teens to take healthy risks. Taking such risks will help to develop a stronger frontal cortex, effectively giving the teen more valuable life skills. The fourth one will be allow teens to make mistakes so that they can learn from them. Proceeding on, the nutrition and activity. Adolescents may be ready to make decisions about their body and health. Making healthy decisions about what to eat, drink, and how adaptive they are and how much sleep to get are important decisions that can either promote or hinder health. Unfortunately, many teens do not make healthy decisions, partly due to the frontal cortex still developing and partly due to the culture in which we live. In the United States, 20% of individuals between the ages of 12 and 19 are obese. If you have the opportunity to watch the documentary entitled Fed Up, it powerfully shows how we are failing our adolescents in terms of healthy eating. So, teens need to be taught how to make healthy eating choices. Here are some healthy eating tips that teens should know. Try to limit foods like cookies, candy, frozen desserts, chips, and fries which often have a lot of sugar, unhealthy fat, and salt. For a quick snack, try recharging with a pear, a apple or a banana, or a small bag of baby carrots or hummus with sliced veggies. And don't add sugar to your food and drinks. Don't drink fat I mean drink fat free or low fat milk, and avoid sugary drinks. Soda, energy drinks, sweet tea, and some juices have added sugars, a source of extra calories. So, in addition to making smart food choices, it is very much important to know that the nutritional needs of adolescents are unique, and many teens need more of these nutrients. The calcium to build strong bones and teeth. It is a good source of calcium, which includes the fat-free or low-fat milk, yogurt, and cheese. The vitamin D to keep bones healthy. Good sources of vitamin D include oranges, tuna, and fat-free or low-fat milk. Potassium to help lower blood pressure. Good sources for potassium include bananas and baked potatoes with the skin. Fiber to help stay regular and feel full. Good sources of fiber include beans and celery. Protein to give you energy and help you grow strong. Good sources of protein include peanut butter, eggs, tofu, legumes, and chickens, fish, and low-fat meats. Lastly, the iron to help you grow. Red meat contains a form of iron that your body absorbs best. Other good sources of iron includes spinach beans, peas, and iron fortified cereals. You can help your body absorb the iron from these foods better when you combine these foods with vitamin C like an orange. Physical activity should be part of teenagers' daily life. Whether they play sports, take physical education classes in school, do chores, or get around by biking or walking, regular physical activity can help teenagers manage their weight, have stronger muscles and bones, and be more flexible. Aerobic versus lifestyle activities. People, regardless of their age, need to be physically active for at least 60 minutes a day. Most of the 60 minutes or more of the activity a day should be either a moderate or intense aerobic physical activity. Everyone should include intense physical activity at least 3 days a week. Examples of aerobic physical activity or activity that makes you breathe harder and speeds up your heart rate include jogging, biking, and dancing. For a more moderate workout, brisk walking, jogging, or biking on a flat streets or path all work. So, to pick up the intensity, individuals can turn a walk into a jog or jog into a run, and including hills to the walk, jog, or bike ride. We don't have to do 60 minutes a day. Uh, all wants to benefit from the activity. Teens can download fitness applications onto their computer, smartphones, or other mobile devices to help keep track of how active they are each day. Sometimes it's difficult for teens to get enough sleep, especially if they have jobs, help take care of younger brothers or sisters, or are busy with other activities after school, like healthy eating and getting enough physical activity. Getting enough sleep is important for staying healthy. Everyone needs enough sleep to do well in school, work, drive safely, and fight off infection. Not getting enough sleep may lead to moodiness and irritability. While more research is needed, some studies have shown that not getting enough sleep may also contribute to weight gain. Individuals between 13 and 18 years old should get 8 to 10 years to 10 8 to 10 hours rather of sleep each night. The amount of sleep you need changes as you age. Children needs more sleep than adults. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine and the Sleep Research Society recommended that the infant 4 to 12 months has to sleep within 12 to 16 hours per 24 hours. The toddler 1 to 2 years old has to sleep 11 to 14 hours per 24 hours, including naps. The preschool 3 to 5 years old has to sleep 10 to 13 hours per 24 hours, including naps. The school age rather 16 to 12 years old has to sleep 9 to 12 hours per 24 hours. The teens 13 to 18 years old has to sleep 8 to 10 hours per 24 hours, and then the adult aged 18 to 60 years old has to sleep 7 or more hours per night. There are some important habits that can improve your sleep health. Be consistent. Go to bed at the same time each night and get up at the same time each morning, including on the weekends. And also make sure your bedroom is quiet, dark, relaxing, and at a comfortable temperature. Remove electronic devices such as TVs, computers, and smartphones from the bedroom. Avoid large meals, caffeine, and alcohol before bedtime, and avoid tobacco or nicotine. And get some exercise. Being physically active during the day can help you fall asleep more easily at night. What about sleep quality? So, getting enough sleep is important, but good sleep quality is essential. Signs of poor sleep quality include feeling sleepy or tired even after getting enough sleep, repeatedly waking up during the night, and having symptoms of sleep disorders such as snoring or gasping for air. Better sleep habits may improve the quality of your sleep. So here's the reference that I was able to use. Thank you so much for listening with this short report of mine. Any questions or clarifications or some suggestions and recommendations, you can find me at this social media account, Rafael Aliagas in Twitter, Paing Official on Instagram, and Rafael Chamiliagas on Facebook. Thank you so much for listening, my co-physical educators, and to you, Mom April. God bless and see you soonest.